All right, one final look at the Dow for you. If you dare look, down 144, that's not so bad. Trade, tech worries continuing, and that's what sort of motivated people to sell today. We'll be getting into all that tomorrow on the Intelligence Report on the Fox Business Network at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you there. In the meantime, the 5 is next.
Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld with Emily Compagno, Juan Williams, Jesse Waters, and a blueberry is your beach ball. Dana Perino, La 5. There's an old saying in media, if you don't have something nice to say, you'll do great. Luckily, the press has Trump, so they never have anything nice to say. Eventually, this starts to become a problem. Since Trump got elected, doctors are seeing patients suffering from Trump anxiety disorder, or TAD. The symptoms of TAD? Feeling like the world is ending. I wonder why.
Donald Trump and his erratic behavior could be leading the United States towards World War III.
We're talking about annihilating millions of people. Yeah.
If this border wall happens, it will be an unprecedented environmental catastrophe.
We can't begin to normalize this. This is dangerous. This is childish. This is unpresidential.
This is it, the end of the presidential race, and it feels like the end of the world.
Never gets old. But that's why you really can't mock the ill when there's a whole industry selling them this kind of terror. As their go-to evil, the media has replaced climate change with Trump change. Everything bad in this world is now due to Trump, even as life improves. We've never been in a better spot with North Korea. GDP's going up, unemployment keeps shrinking. Optimism is higher than Willie Nelson. Yet if you listen to the other guys, the sky isn't just falling, it's already fallen and it can't get up. It needs life alert. But as much as the Chicken Littles hate Trump, where would they be without him? Trump's election created a need that we didn't know we had. The media has never been louder, celebrities have never been shoutier, academia has never been more strident. So haters, imagine if Trump were to disappear. How large a hole would there be in the lives of CNN and Morning Joe and Chelsea Handler? You think these people suffer from Trump anxiety? Wait till you see Trump withdrawal.
I wasted everyone's time. I wasted everyone's everything, and I feel bad. You don't think I feel bad?
I know that. You can't go back after Donald. He's added something to politics that we haven't seen, which is speed. Not the drug, the energy. It's the first time in 8 years so many in the media are sweating. Anxiety isn't from the apocalypse. It's from trying to keep up. All right, let's introduce, we have a new face here as a guest. Emily, welcome to the show. I know you've been on Jesse's program, but other quality shows like mine. But I just thought maybe you'd tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, thank you for having me here today. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for that. And a little bit about myself. I'm a 12th year attorney and I still practice. I'm licensed in California and Washington, but the majority of my career was spent with the federal government and criminal law as well. And I had the additional pleasure of cheering in the NFL while I was an attorney for the Oakland Raiders. And I went on a USO tour throughout Kuwait and Iraq visiting troops. And
That's so cool.
That really does remain to this day my greatest honor. There's me and one of the Black Hawks we flew around in, which is an awesome way to travel. And I drive, that's my, like
That's
you,
good.
I'm a dog mom.
I like that.
I don't know about this now.
That was her 8th birthday last
You were
year.
doing so well.
I'm still up there. And she chased a squirrel right after that picture, by the way, with that hat on. It was ridiculous. And this is my car. I drive a 72 Mach 1, and Greg was telling me about his car before the show, but I'm pretty sure my engine's bigger than
I think your engine is bigger. That's beautiful. 72, right?
Yes.
Yes, I
You
asked.
drive that all around everywhere?
I did in California. In Seattle, it's harder.
Yeah, does Seattle do they give you the stink eye when you drive around in that?
Berkeley,
Seattle?
I got more, negative looks, but I think in Seattle, I just debuted.
Beautiful car.
Yeah, you just run over those Priuses. That's what I would do. What do you make of this whole idea of anxiety? Could this be a massive class action lawsuit against Trump?
Well, they could certainly try, right? We saw a big class action suit about caffeine in coffee in California. But I just feel like it's one more thing where the reality is that people want to be outraged or affected rather than informed, right? The whole thing is ridiculous. And we're seeing now that this, to me, also is another oversimplification of the matter. Oh, I have this Trump anxiety syndrome, and so that must mean X, Y, and Z. Well, what is that the root of, right? Fear and fright is usually from lack of education. So if we could talk about things more engaged and in a detailed manner, people probably wouldn't be so frightened of positive news coming out of the administration.
You know, Juan, to paraphrase a Stoic, if you are offended, you are complicit in the outrage. Got that from a producer.
That was good.
Yeah, very good. So it means it's like Donald isn't really making you sick. It's you're letting him get you sick, right? It's like you have to learn how to manage the emotions and turn it into something productive, correct?
Is that right? Because I think Donald plays on emotions every day. I mean, he plays on the fear factor. He likes to stir up his base with fear. He likes to mock people and intimidate people. But here's the thing. You can even make fun of Trump derangement syndrome.
Right.
But I think that, look at it from the Democrats' point of view, Greg, that's the base is anti-Trump and energized to turn out in the midterms. And all the numbers right now are flowing towards the Democrats because the Democratic base is so energized.
Right.
They are upset about Trump. And
deranged.
You say, why are they? Things are going so great. Hey, people look around and they say, you know what? This country's in a place I've never seen it before. I don't even recognize it in some cases, and they're outraged.
But that's a psychological problem.
You can't just speak the truth?
Well, no, it's psychological, not. I mean, if you look at the job numbers and the economy, those are real, real progress. You're talking about the real serious psychological problems. People think something's wrong when there's something good going on.
Yeah, look at the taxes. Oh, geez. We're going to give a tax cut to the working men of America, and it goes to nobody but the rich. That's how about
fake news, Juan?
Oh, yeah,
everybody gets $2,600 more in their paycheck each year, and that's a fact.
Check with the rich.
That's not a feeling. I think what happened is Trump was elected not to bring continuity and to not, guide the country along the path that it was going. Donald Trump was elected to grab America by the back of the neck and then yank it from off the edge of the cliff. For some people, that's very thrilling.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's incredibly jarring. And I think those people are mentally weak. I mean, we had generations that stormed the beaches, and now they're crying in the streets. So I think it's because the media is so negative, and the media is constantly saying the sky is falling, and people can't process that. It's also because Trump is constantly battling everybody. He's taking down institutions, he's fighting with people, he's on Twitter, and we've never had a president like that before, and people can't process that. And then 3, people are frustrated because they haven't been able to take him down. They've thrown everything at this guy, and he's still at 45 to 46%. And for them, that's incredibly frustrating, and they need to see a shrink.
You know, Dana, let's say you are the shrink.
Okay.
And I come in and I go, I have all this anxiety over Donald Trump. He's driving me crazy. What kind of advice would you give me?
All right. I would say it depends on, are you an action-oriented person, or are you somebody who needs to just turn off the TV and turn off Twitter? I know people that are just like, I don't like to watch the news anymore. It's too negative. Or especially like if it was violent, they don't want to watch that. So you do have a choice. If in the Serenity Prayer you ask for wisdom for the things that you cannot change and the courage to know the difference of the things that you can. And so I think that the other thing is, and I do think the Democrats have done this to a large extent, but so have Trump supporters, which is channel that energy into something else. Run for office, donate, decide to turn something into action so that you can actually get involved. If you feel like you're more involved and you're actually being able to do something on either side, then you can deal with your anxiety better. But more is probably, I think, getting off Twitter is probably good.
I do think that there's something to what Jesse said, Emily, which is like, I think the stress actually is real. And it's not, it has to do with time compression. The fact that because Trump has packed like 5 incidents into one day, it's like usually a politician would do something controversial once a week, but it seems like he just, it's like to him, news is shuffleboard. Like if there's a news item, he'll hit that one out with another news item. And so we are just constantly racing and racing. And I can kind of see where that gets exhausting, even for us.
Yeah.
Well, sure. The rapidity of the media cycle can certainly be exhausting, but also I feel like part of the issue is focusing on that fright and the fear of what hasn't happened yet, and we're ignoring then to our detriment the negatives that still are in place. So we were just talking about California. Well, that still has the highest poverty rate if you take into account cost of living, and yet we have 125 approximately billionaires living in that state.
Yeah.
With $500 billion plus among them, and then LA County just leveraged $430 million worth of debt to combat the homeless problem that is growing by the day. So it's almost a shell game where we are focused on what this media, on the headlines, the oversimplification, and then ignoring what really needs our attention.
I'm stealing those stats when I do Tucker later. One, the media in Hollywood share some responsible for this, I think, because they're the ones that are keeping it at a doomsday level, and they're going to fork out millions. Now, a lot of people in Hollywood are going to fork out millions in the midterms, obviously with the hope to win both houses and impeach. Is that the realistic goal, you think?
No, but I think realistically they have a shot at the House, if that's what you're asking. But, I'm struck by this conversation because to me, you say it's the Hollywood elite, it's the media, it's everybody but Donald Trump. But I'm thinking if I'm anxious, if the American people are anxious, and according to what I saw in your
I agree with you.
They are more anxious. Apparently you can measure this, right? And they are more anxious. Well, what about Donald Trump's repeated lies? What about the idea he stands next to Putin like a submissive puppy and says, oh, I believe Putin, not the Americans? I mean, wait a second. What side is this guy on? I thought he was our president.
Well, I don't know. I think people are more resilient on the right than people on the left. During the Obama administration, there was, racial riots. There was a lot of domestic terror attacks. There were gas price spikes. There was premium spikes with the healthcare situation. There was a lot of uncertainty and volatility during that time. Conservatives didn't rush to see a shrink. You know what they did? They had a drink and they went to work the next day.
So they created the Tea Party.
And they translated that into votes.
And there was ISIS, remember?
Yes.
I mean, that was a little bit of anxiety producing.
Yes.
You're worried about the future of the world. The other thing I would say is part of this is that the celebrities in Hollywood have said they're going to be more engaged now than ever.
Right.
The thing is that the president, for President Trump, he does better if he has someone or something to work against. So I actually think if Hollywood really wanted to help the Democrats, it would be better just to sit back, write checks, and register new voters rather than giving him something to run against.
That's what Clooney said he wouldn't hang around Obama because he didn't want to tarnish Obama with the Hollywood, stench.
No, they just met behind closed doors.
Exactly. All right, President Trump and his legal team launched a new wave of attacks against Robert Mueller and Michael Cohen. The war of words, that's next.